Hello, and welcome to the first recording of moviesintheaters.wordpress.com. My name is Nick, and I'm the reviewer of the website. If you are just watching this video straight off of YouTube, welcome. But first, let's just start taking a look at the movies that we'll be reviewing. Movies that we'll be reviewing today are Green Lantern, X-Men First Class, Super 8, Bridesmaids, and The Hangover Part II. So first let's take a look at the Green Lantern. First I'm going to read some movie information about it, and then I'll give you my personal insight. Okay, so movie information. In a universe as vast as it is mysterious, a small but powerful force has existed for centuries. Protectors of peace and justice, they are called the Green Lantern's Corps, a brotherhood of warriors sworn to keep intergalactic order. Each Green Lantern wears a ring that grants him superpowers, but when a new enemy called Parallax threatens to destroy the balance of the power in the universe, their fate and the fate of the Earth lie in the hands of the newest recruit, the first human ever selected, Hal Jordan, played by Ryan Reynolds. Hal is a gifted and cocky test pilot, but the Green Lanterns have little respect for humans, who have never harnessed the infinite power of the ring before. And basic information, it's rated PG-13, it's an hour and 45 minutes long, and it is currently in theaters right now. Okay, so I saw this movie in 3D, and it wasn't a movie that you necessarily need to see in 3D. I feel like you'll get the same experience out of it, whether it's in 3D or in 2D, and the acting by Ryan Reynolds is good, but it doesn't live up to the hype and all that I was expecting it to be. It was just an okay movie. I was expecting maybe a little more like filling of the holes and gaps in the story, and like they'll just go from one scene to the next and you'll be like, well, how did he do that? And it's just a little holy. But yeah, it's a 35%, and I mean, if you're a fan of the Green Lantern, I would suggest going to see this movie. It was very good. It was just, not as good as most other movies. Okay, so let's take a look at the next movie, X-Men First Class, and as a matter of fact, I saw this movie last night. So first, some little movie information. X-Men First Class unveils the epic beginning of the X-Men saga, and a secret history of the Cold War in our world at the brink of a nuclear Armageddon. As the First Class discovers, harnesses, and comes to terms with the formidable powers, alliances are formed that will shape the eternal war between the heroes and villains of the X-Men universe. This was rated PG-13, and its runtime was 2 hours and 11 minutes, and like I said, it's in theaters right now. So this movie, I gave this movie a 84%, and I did that because it was a really great movie. The acting was great, and it was a great prequel to all the other movies that have been X-Men movies. It ties everything. It gives you reasons why Professor Xavier is paralyzed, why the alliances are the way they are. It just gives you a whole background on the story, and it was a great storyline. There were special appearances by Hugh Jackman, and that was pretty cool. And Kevin Bacon is in it, obviously. But yeah, it was an overall really good movie. So I would suggest going to see this movie, X-Men First Class. Okay, now we're going to take a look at Super 8. This movie was written and directed by J.J. Abrams, and they team up with Steven Spielberg for this period sci-fi thriller set in the late 70s and centering on a mysterious train crash in a small Ohio town. Summer 1979. A group of young friends are filming a Super 8 movie when a pickup truck derails a speeding train. When the locals start to disappear, and even the linguistic deputy can come up with answers. Suspicions emerge that the incident was anything but an accident. As the truth finally begins emerging, no one is prepared to learn what now stalks the unsuspecting citizens of this once quiet community. Kyle Chandler and Elle Fanning star, Jason Buchanan and Roby. So this film is rated PG-13. It's an hour and 51 minutes long and is in theaters. This was a really good movie. It had a really great story. It was, I call it classic Spielberg, excuse me. And basically it's that. It sounds like it was just like all the old summer blockbusters, all the other Spielberg movies. Is very Spielberg-esque, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was just a great movie. And so if you're a fan of Spielberg, then I would definitely suggest seeing this movie because it is a good movie. There is a part that, it's kind of like, oh, well, this kind of seems like a little kiddish movie, but for the most part, this movie is just a great overall movie. And that was Super 8. Now our next movie is Bridesmaid, and here's some movie information about this one. This spring, Universal Pictures and producer Jude Apatow, knocked up the 40-year-old virgin, invite you to experience Bridesmaid. Kristen Wiig leads the cast as Annie, a maid of honor whose life unravels as she leads her best friend, Lillian, played by Maya Rudolph, and a group of colorful bridesmaids, Rose Byrne, Melissa McCarthy, Wendy McClendon-Covey, and Ellie Kemper, on a wild ride down the road to matrimony. Annie's life is a mess, but when she finds out her lifetime best friend is engaged, she simply must serve as Lillian's maid of honor. Through Loverlorn and Broke, Annie bluffs her way through the expensive and bizarre rituals. With one chance to get it perfect, she'll show Lillian and her bridesmaids just how far you'll go for someone you love. This movie is rated R. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes long, and it is still in theaters. It was a pretty funny movie. Yeah, it opens up. It's not really a movie you want to see with your kids' parents. I saw it with my parents, and it's kind of different though because I see lots of movies with my parents. But it opens up with a sex scene, and it does not show anything inappropriate, but it's a little uncomfortable at first. That would be the main problem with it. I gave it a 66%. I'm not a huge fan of Kristen Wiig. She's from Saturday Night Live, but if you're a fan of her, then you'll love this movie. It is a funny movie, and there are funny things, but I don't have a huge fondness of Kristen Wiig. But that's Bridesmaids, and it's in theaters, so I would check that one out. Next is The Hangover, and I don't believe The Hangover is still in theaters, but it was in theaters. And I give it an 82%, but here is some basic information about the movie. In The Hangover Part II, Phil, played by Bradley Cooper, Stu, played by Ed Helms, Alan, played by Zach Galifianakis, and Doug, played by Justin Bartha, travel to exotic Thailand for Stu's wedding. After the unforgettable bachelor party in Las Vegas, Stu is taking no chances and has opted for a safe, subdued pre-wedding brunch. However, things don't always go as planned. What happens in Vegas may stay in Vegas, but what happens in Bangkok can never be imagined. This movie is rated R and is an hour and 42 minutes long. Me being a fan of the first Hangover, this was just great. It was so funny. Lots of new quotes from the movie that are just hilarious, and same characters. They're so funny together. It is basically the same storyline, and so that's why certain critics have been kind of bashing at it, but it was a good movie, and I really enjoyed it. It was really funny, and I gave it an 82% because it was a little predictable, and yeah, but other than that, it was really funny, and it kept me interested for the whole hour and 42 minutes. But yeah, it was just a great movie. So that concludes our 5 films for this webcast. I hope I was able to give you some good insight, and if you would feel free to comment, please do that. I appreciate comments, and you know, let everyone know what you think of these movies too, because it's not just my opinion that matters. Yours does too. So this is Nick signing off. Thanks again.